start off with that antibody drug use authorization that Meg was just reporting on. How meaningful is that? And how do you think that it will be able to be deployed at scale when there's still so many supply constraint concerns?
Well, there are very promising data that led FDA to grant this authorization. And those data basically showed that, in individuals who aren't yet very sick, but have COVID illness, not hospitalized, not requiring oxygen, in those individuals, using this monoclonal antibody could reduce the frequency of hospital and emergency room visits. And it did that from around 10 to 3%. But that means that on selected individuals, you have to treat 100 to reduce, to get a reduction in 7 hospitalizations or emergency room visits. But as our healthcare system is under such stress, anything that could reduce suffering and reduce the utilization of the system would be very helpful. So that's the promising part. What FDA has said is, use these in people at high risk of complications, for example, people with significant obesity, underlying medical problems. And in those people, maybe it will have the most impact. But it's important to point out, as you did, that supplies are limited, that it's still not an approved product where we have complete data on safety and effectiveness, and that it would have to be given intravenously as a medicine, in patients who are not very sick and typically aren't getting intravenous medicines.
I'm curious for your reaction to this big Pfizer news that was out yesterday. The fact that vaccine is an mRNA treatment, and does not actually use a piece of the COVID virus itself. How does that impact your sense of what the efficacy will be and also the potential risk that could be associated with a new vaccine like this?
Yeah, well, these preliminary data that Pfizer presented in a press release are, extremely encouraging and promising. So that's very exciting in a number of ways. They reported that during this, very short period of follow-up, because these studies were only started in recent months, that the risk of disease in vaccinated individuals as compared to placebo recipients was reduced by 90% or more. So that's quite exciting and promising, but we don't know how long that protection will last. We really haven't seen any of the data from the study, and Pfizer has said they will only have even the initial safety data, towards the end of this month. So we'll look forward to seeing that. But it is quite encouraging because RNA vaccines to protect against infectious disease are relatively new. None have been approved yet. So this, in a way, is, if it holds up, initial evidence, sort of proof of principle that those vaccines can work. It's also proof of principle that the particular protein of the virus that this vaccine encourages an immune response against, called the S protein, that can work to help protect people against the virus. And that strategy is being used in a number of other vaccine candidates that are coming along, including the other mRNA vaccines.
Dr. Goodman?
Yeah.
Before we go, please give me your sense of the danger that we're heading into as we head into a cold weather season, into a season where families are used to gathering and might still gather even in smaller groups, and perhaps even do that indoors. And compare it, please, to the very beginning stages of this pandemic in the U.S., where we saw the devastation, really, that we saw in New York, New Jersey, some other areas.
Yeah, we're seeing, explosive rises in cases in most parts of the U.S. now, and we're starting to see healthcare systems under tremendous stress. And this is even before these holidays and as people have gotten sick of social distancing. And it really tells us we must redouble our guard. People must do the things that they need to do, to wear face masks, to socially distance, or we're going to again have disasters in our health system. We're much better prepared than we were, but we're still not prepared to deal with that. And the vaccine is not going to get us out of that. The supplies, are going to be some time in coming. So people really do need to pay attention here.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.